One thing I did want to chat about briefly is the adoption kind of cycle, right? Or I guess you could call it maybe adoption curve. So some of the suppliers kind of a little bit, later coming on. So could we maybe chat about that and, from your experience at Yelp, maybe some learnings there?
I mean, sort of what we already talked about, around the restaurants and then the later verticals and things like that. We took a market by market approach to launching Yelp, which is, I think, what a lot of marketplaces do now, but at the time it wasn't actually the accepted strategy, the market by market approach. It was like, let's launch everywhere. And some of our competitors were giving out $5 Starbucks gift cards to get people to write reviews, right? We took the market by market approach, and a lot of that had to do with adoption in a market on the consumer side, on the demand side, before we started to scale up the supply side and convert more of the businesses there. And so happy to dig more into that, but that's one thing that we found, and definitely encourage you guys to check out the Yelp S1. There's a lot of great public information in there about the marketing strategy there for acquiring demand before going in on the supply side.
Yeah, I would actually love to go into that in a little bit more detail if we can.
Sure. If you sort of think about it, you can think about it like a bullseye. And at the center of the bullseye is the Yelp elite reviewer, right? Who writes reviews and writes 2 reviews a day, 1 review a day, every single day, and they love to do it. The job of the community manager was to go in and acquire the center of the bullseye, that Yelp elite member who's going to go and write reviews every single day. So the way that we did that was through a street marketing team. So we would hire someone locally in the city of Seattle who knew a lot of people, and their job was to go out and acquire Yelp elite reviewers, right? Writing reviews. They were the center of the bullseye. And then over time, they would tell people about it. They would, talk about Yelp. Oh, how'd you find this brunch place? Oh, I found it on Yelp. Oh, you should check it out. So there's a lot of word of mouth that would get created through that center of the bullseye. That center of the bullseye also was creating the 90% of the content, which was then getting indexed in the search results, which was then driving the SEO acquisition. So the community management team, the street marketing team, if you will, was a really innovative approach to acquiring the demand side for Yelp. I think we were one of the first websites ever to actually have parties where people met in person. The common wisdom at the time was you don't meet people that you met on the internet, right? And we kind of, flipped that on its head and had parties. So that was a really key part to the overall strategy, but also the marketing strategy, the community management strategy. The idea of a community manager was completely innovative. Yelp was one of the first companies to ever have them and was critical to the company's overall success. So I think that innovation on the go-to-market side is really important in marketplaces, in addition to the product innovation.